Shields up, Iron Breakers. Work here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Fallout 76 beta. Now, for those of you that are not aware, Fallout 76 is a title that I'm extremely interested in playing. As a matter of fact, I even did a video during E3 where I talk about everything that we know so far and the features that I like the most about that game. So if you're curious about that, I'll put a link on the upper right-hand side of this video so that you can check that out. But in here, we're going to be focusing exclusively on the beta. So we've been receiving quite a few number of reports over the past couple of weeks in regards to the beta. The very first one was indicating that the beta is going to be starting in October. And the problem with that is that the actual game is going to be releasing in November. And as you guys may or may not be aware, the Elder Scrolls games as well as the Fallout games, they tend to launch with quite a few bugs in them. And therefore, 1 month in order for them to fix all of the bugs that the community is going to be coming up with, I think that is an extremely short period of time for them to actually address any serious, which could potentially be game-breaking bugs in regards to the beta. So that was one of the first disappointing things about it. The other disappointing thing about it is the fact that the only people that have access to the beta are going to be people that actually pre-ordered the game, which that is fine. It's just something that I personally don't like that much. I would rather you would have people that would just sign up for the beta, but this is something that the industry has kind of been moving towards over the last couple of years. You pre-order a game and you get a little bit earlier access to a beta or a demo or something like that. There's been a lot of other companies doing that. So, it's not something that I wasn't really expecting. Then on top of that, there's also the fact that if you pre-order on Xbox One, you're going to have even earlier access than other platforms, which again is fine because they probably have some kind of a deal with Microsoft, and good on Microsoft for getting those deals in line. And I know that some people are going to be really upset about that. Me, I'm mostly just a little bit annoyed as a content creator because, as you guys know, whenever you are creating content for a video game, being the first one on the spot is pretty much what is going to guarantee that to be a viable source of content for you moving forward. So it's going to be a lot more work for me to actually be able to cover this game appropriately, since if I do play Fallout 76, it's probably going to be on the PS4 because that's where a majority of the Iron Breakers are, and I want to be able to play with you guys whenever we do get to play Fallout 76. So naturally, I'm not going to pre-order the game on Xbox One just for the purpose of creating content, because that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So those are just what I would consider a couple of minor annoyances, with the exception of the fact that there's only 1 month for them to fix bugs. I think that's kind of really sucky. But then comes the really big one. And the big one was that in a previous interview, Todd Howard actually mentioned that he was trying to do the beta in a way that he wouldn't have to wipe progress. And when I heard that, I was just like, dude, Todd Howard, what are you talking about? Like, seriously, do you not understand that this is a multiplayer game and that you will want people will want to start on even ground with everybody else, even if the game itself is not necessarily a competitive game, either from a PvP standpoint or a PvE standpoint, like you getting to max level might not be the most important thing. People who play these online games, whether they're MMOs or MMO lights, which is what I would consider this to be, this to me is kind of like the equivalent of a Destiny Fallout, so to speak. And it's like players want to start on even footing when these games begin. And I understand that one of the reasons why you want to segregate the player base and have some people start first and then some people start later is so that people don't overload the servers. I understand that, but ultimately your player base is going to want to have an even footing. So when I saw that in an interview, I was very dismissive. I was like, nah, there's no way they're going to do it. Well, it turns out I was completely and utterly wrong, and that just blew me away, because earlier today, Kegren from the Iron Breakers actually sent me a link to the website where you go to redeem your beta codes. And in there, for starters, there was one thing which, again, is more important for content creators, I guess. Is there going to be an NDA? No, there is no NDA. So that means that whenever you get to the beta, you can just start streaming, you can just start publishing content. And the other thing that I find really, really problematic is, here's this question. Is the beta going to be full game, and will my progress carry over to launch? And their answer is, our current plan for the beta is it will be the full game and all your progress is saved for launch. We hope you join us. And when I saw that, I was like, what? So basically what you're saying is that this is not a beta. At this point, you cannot call this a beta anymore. This is early access. This is just straight up early access. Very much like some stuff that Microsoft has been doing with games like Gears of War, I believe, and I think Forza as well, where you could essentially pre-order the game, and if you pre-ordered like the digital deluxe editions or whatever, you would actually be able to start playing, I don't know, it was anywhere between 5 days and a week early. Except in this case, if you pre-order the game, you're going to be able to start playing the game 1 month early. So ultimately, you will be able to play through what we would call the main campaign before the game even launches, if you happen to be one of the very first people to get in. Let that sink in for a little bit. You're talking about, at this point, the game might have a whole bunch of glitches that nobody really reported on. So you might be able to acquire massive amounts of wealth. You might be able to acquire like a beast mode base. You might be able to acquire beast mode gear, and then you go into launch with all of that stuff. And it's like, I already know that you're not really going to be able to grief players all that much. They've made that extensively clear, that maybe you'll be able to get kill players the first time you encounter them, but then you won't be able to keep griefing them and nobody really loses anything. So there's not really too much of a competitive side to worry about, but ultimately those players are going to be, well more advanced. Your community is going to be completely segregated. There's going to be like the top-notch players that were the very first ones to actually play the game, and how it's just completely baffling to me that they don't realize how this actually affects the in-game experience and how this is going to affect players that are not planning on pre-order, or maybe can't pre-order for whatever reason. Maybe they can only buy the game on launch. Maybe players were excited for like the midnight launch, which is something that I guess people don't really do that much anymore, which is disappointing. But anyways, it's like you're basically, your whole player base for Fallout 76 is never going to start on even footing. And I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm actually curious. Again, I'm not saying that I'm the owner of reason here, but personally, as someone who has played several MMOs and MMO lights over the years, like, to me, this is extremely disheartening. I'm just like, I already knew that in the terms of the beta that I was going to start later than whoever was on Xbox, and that's fine. I'm okay with it because I understand how these deals work. But you're going to tell me that people that actually pre-order the game are going to start earlier. It's just, because again, it's not a beta. It's an early access. Like, how do you guys feel about this? I'm just curious. I'm genuinely curious. How do you guys, the players, feel about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I know that my voice sounds a little bit different because as soon as I got this news, I just wanted to record it, and I'm not in the studio, and I just wanted to put this video out here. But yeah, just leave it in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, notifications, turn those on. There will be 2 video suggestions for you guys to watch. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.